Okay, back with another repair video. Today we are repairing a MacBook Air 13-inch 2020 model with model number A2179. With this, it's not like a typical laptop repair. I don't recommend trying to actually replace the LCD itself. It's best to just go ahead and get yourself a whole new lid assembly with a brand new screen. As you see, I have one here. You're gonna need a torque screwdriver to get into the back of this guy, which is where we need to get. So we have, what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 screws we have to get out of the back of this. They're all the same size. The head's the same size. The 4 in the back side here will be a little bit longer, as where these were going to be much shorter. You want to take note of that for when you reassemble, that you have the screws back in the right spots. Really nothing to be concerned about at this point, just getting the screws out, making sure you have the right torque screws so you don't strip the screws out. I'm not sure what this one is. It says 1.2 by 25 millimeter, but that's not correct. I mean, it may be correct, but usually it's like a T4, T5, something like that. They're not screwdrivers that everyone keeps laying around, and sometimes when you order parts you will get a little toolkit that gives you everything that you need. Okay, now we just got to get under here. Usually this is a good spot. One little single click is these clips right here are snapped in here, so give a little restriction, but as long as you got all the screws out, it will come out. Okay, so next up, we're going to be replacing this bar and the hinges as well. First thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and get these hinge screws off. Where? It's going to be this guy. And these are T8 screws. T8. And so you have 3 screws for each hinge, and then we're going to have to definitely move some of this entire plate. For Wi-Fi, we're going to have to take that off also. So we got 3 on that side, 3 on this side. You technically don't need to take these out yet, but we're just going to go ahead and do it and get them out of the way. Okay, we got that out of the way. Now we're going to go and take this out, and that is the wrong size. And I think it's this one. Yep, and so these are coming out with a T5. You just definitely want to keep note of where you're pulling stuff out of. I believe these are all the same size screws, but if not, definitely note where you're taking them out from so that they go back where they belong. Stop wiggling around. Whoever that is. Alright. So now this should... Okay. So... might be on it. This guy... No, too big. Yeah. Interesting. So, just trying to figure out what size this is. Apple's infamous for using all different sizes, so... And the reason for that is to try to make your life difficult in doing these repairs. They do not want you fixing their stuff. And so they make it challenging with all different size screws and such. It does not look like it's it. No, I don't know what size this is. And that's too small. Okay, after you get it opened up, the first thing we're going to do is disconnect this battery, and it just pushes out right here. Not the funnest to get out. And there we go, battery's out. And next we're going to remove these 4 screws, which I have done already. These are kind of long. And we'll have this up. Okay, so after we've got the battery removed, we're going to remove these 4 T5 screws. And just take note where you're removing these from, because you will need to put them back. And this is the Wi-Fi antenna. It's a very odd Wi-Fi antenna. Don't see antennas like this in many laptops, not even in MacBooks. Or at least I haven't. Maybe this is the new thing that they're doing. Alright, so we'll take these, and again, taking note of where. So what I like to do when I take out 2 screws is I put them side by side, make sure they're the same size, which these ones are, and they go with this here, so we're going to put that. A lot of the times it's a good idea just to put the screws with the plates and stuff right in the same order as you would as they're laid out here, so that you know exactly where they're going back in. I always recommend plastic tweezers when you're working around circuitry. So we got 2. Let's get the rest of these first. Okay. We got that. And so basically all these are doing is holding these clips down. And we have 3 clips here. One here. One here. Want to be careful, there's not much place to get leverage. Leverage is always an issue. And here. And then once we have that, we got to get this Wi-Fi antenna holder. Again, plastic tweezers are recommended. And then these will just pop right up. And then this should come out of here. Oh, we got one more actually. I completely didn't see that one. There's 2 black screws here. They might be T5, and they are. 1, 2. There we go. Now we should be able to come out. Just kind of wiggle each side. Make sure that you're free before you go ripping it out, because you don't want to do any damage. Okay. So there's that. And then, is there anything else holding this guy? Because it seems a little resistant. Definitely seems a little resistant, but there is nothing else holding it. And so we are good. And again, I'm just taking note of how that went back, slides in. And then all of these go under, except that one. Okay. All right, Wi-Fi antenna is removed. Our board is now removed. This is gonna go. All right, so now basically we can open this up. I recommend when you're opening it to kind of hold the hinges a bit. And then I don't want a little too far. Maybe I'm gonna put 45-degree angles, probably best. And there we go. Whew, hello. And you can tell, I'm not sure if you can see it or not. I'll try to, yeah, you can see it there with the light. It is, there's a crack right down here in the bottom of the screen the customer is not happy with. So, old screen, getting rid of that, and bringing in the new screen. Get rid of all that junk. Alright, now we're going to lift this guy forward. And we're going to try to just gently snug that back into place. And there we go. And then I'm holding the hinges while, I'm holding them pretty tight too, so they'll go back down to that position. Okay. So now, basically gonna just do what we did in reverse. Okay, let's get that snuggled in. And I'm going to do this in a little bit different order, putting it back together. I'm going to start with the T5, the 4 first ones we took out of the Wi-Fi antenna. I'm going to put those back first, so that way the antenna is stable and it's where it's going to be, and then we can go and put the board back into place. Definitely gonna have to have quite a bit of different tools to work on Macs if you're accustomed to working on PCs. Aside from a few select models, PCs are relatively standard, mostly Phillips heads, screws. All right, next I'm gonna put back these two big black T5s, and which basically hold the board in place. Use a little more magnetism on these guys. Okay. Hello. Okay. There we go, got it in. And then before you tighten it, I suggest putting the other one in and then tightening them both down, just so that you know that they're both in the right position and not going anywhere. And that way you don't have to, sometimes if you tighten one too tight, you'll see that the board maybe has a little slant and you can't get the other one in, so that's why I recommend doing that. We'll hook this back up. And then just in reverse order, we gotta put these Wi-Fi clips back on. They just snap back on. Be very careful with this though, because I still find these Wi-Fi clips to be kind of very damageable. You can, if you put too much pressure on them and they're in the wrong spot, you can bend the metal. It's just a piece of metal sleeve that kind of grips onto that nodule that sticks out. So if you bend that too far in, it will not go on, and if you bend it outwards, it will not stay snapped on, which is a problem. So okay, put this back in place, and these are this T3. All of these screws, these little screws here, are T3. Kind of just hold that so it's sitting straight. Plug it back on, and just kind of use this to just get that sort of dropped on. And T3. Okay. Now see what I mean right here? You can't see it, but I'm gonna make sure you can. Do you see how I screwed that screw in too tight, and it's kind of hard to see, but that hole's not lining up. So now I gotta loosen this just a little bit. That's why I always recommend not tightening until all the screws are in. And that way you're sure everything's gonna fit and line up as it should, without having to undo. And as you can see, I'm just putting everything back in the same exact positions that I pulled them out from. This is not too complicated of a screen replacement. In fact, this actually might have been a little easier than doing a normal PC screen. However, it's a lot more expensive. It's a lot. Parts for Macs are just not cheap. Alright, one more after this. Again, you can use tweezers if you think you need them, but if you can get it with your hand, that'll be fine too. Okay, and then tighten those two down. They're so tiny, you gotta really have some patience with this stuff. Alright, we got that. Now, we're gonna put our T8s back in our hinges here. And I'm gonna do middle hinge of each first, and not tighten it to be sure that everything's in the position it should be. And once I'm confident it is, I'll tighten them down, and then I'll put the other four in. You guys can tell me if you would rather me have some music playing in the background or not in the comments. I create music. I fully love music. I just feel that these repair videos are better when just the facts are kind of presented. Okay. that guy really tight for some reason. And I'm still experimenting with this camera placement and such to give you guys the best view and vantage point of everything. I still feel like I can do better, and I'm going to continue to play with this until we can get you guys a better view of what exactly is going on. Obviously doing this hoping that these will be helpful to someone, and they're not going to be helpful if you can't see what's going on. So now, in hindsight, I would have done these last because it does kind of get in the way a little of the Wi-Fi antenna, so might be smart to have done this, put these screws back in very first thing after swapping screens. Okay, so we've gotten all that back together. All we have now left to do is connect the battery back up and test it out. So let's do that. Some people would like, some techs would prefer to have tested the screen before connecting everything back together. That's definitely an approach to take. I just am going to be confident that the screen I ordered is going to work. It better work for the price I paid for it. And that give it some juice. This one might be dead. It might need a charge. Yeah, this is gonna need a charge. So I'm gonna charge it up, and then we will we'll give it another test. It's not getting nothing right now, so it was dead when he brought it in. So we'll give it a quick minute to charge, and we will be back. Okay guys, I did have to apply some charge to this laptop because it was completely dead, but as you can see, we have life. Brand new screen. That's a wrap after putting in the final screws into the back. Like and subscribe, guys. If you have any questions or concerns, leave them in the comments below, and I will see you guys for the next one. Thanks.